12.8. There you search for medium shocks and 8 to 10 hours per day of service. So from this table, you can find out that service factor comes out to be 1.5. Just check it. Page 235, table 12.8. The CS value here will be 1.5. And N2 value for us is, okay, N1 is known, N2 you have to find out.
Sir, shouldn't it be 1.25 because medium shocks, right?
No, there is the 1.25 is light shocks. There is one more category called medium shocks.
No, sir, it's medium shocks 1.25, light shocks 1, heavy shocks 1.5.
No, this is straightforward here. I don't know what exactly you're mentioning here. See, there are 4 types. One is steady, second is light shocks, third is medium shocks, and fourth is heavy. Under
Yes.
medium, you have 8 to 10 hours, which is the second column.
Okay,
One,
okay, okay, sorry, 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 sorry.
yeah. Okay. So what about N2? Okay, I is equal to, we understood that it is 3 is to 1, but it should be N1 by N2, correct? Which is 3 is to 1, 3 by 1. And N1, what RPM we are dealing with here? 1200. So N2 will be 1200 by 3, which is 400. So put that here, 400 RPM. So MT should be, write the figure here, 179,062.5 Newton mm. If you apply P in kilowatt in this equation, the formula and the conversion factors are adjusted in such a way that the answer will be in Newton mm. Okay, this you have used extensively in the shafts chapter, that is the previous semester, MD1. You might remember this. Okay, so this is, the answer should be Newton mm. Okay, so what about this K value? Okay, K, and first of all, what is K? You have to understand that. So this is MT is done. Okay, so the top numerator is done, 2 into MT. Sigma D2 already we have found out. I think I did a small error here. I think this should not be there. Yeah. I'll just cut and write again. This should be sigma D2. Okay, that CV has already been transferred to the left hand side. Right. So sigma D2 is already written using the table. What about K? K refers to the ratio of B by M. What is that? B means face width and M should be module. Face width to module ratio is called K. And we don't have a specific value to take, but we definitely have a range by which that K value can be taken. So here, if you go to page 205, on the top, you have face width in terms of module. You have a range in 12.5F. You have a range. The range is described to be 9.5 M to 12.5 M. In other words, what they are saying is K value can take a value anywhere from 9.5 to 12.5, because it's written in one more form. You can write B is equal to K into M. So this K can take any values. It can take 9.5 till 12.5, anywhere in between. So let us take a value. See, we do not have anything here to compare, or rightly say, okay, let us take this particular value, say 12.5 or 9.5, or say 10 or 11. You can even take 12 also. But usually the standard width what we take is, say, let us assume here. So assume K is equal to 10, somewhere in between. Of course, you can take 11, 12 also, but let us say K is equal to 10. Because this is an iterative process, suppose say having all other terms and conditions satisfied, something still you cannot reach up to the design goal, then you may come back and change this. Okay, but right now let us take it as 10. So what are we taking as 10? B by M ratio, we are taking it as 10. Okay, so we have set this value to be 10. So MT is done, K is done, Y is simply pi into Y, and that Y we have calculated already. Z2 is already done. So let us write this. So 2 into 179,062.5 by sigma D2 value was 176.2. Newton per mm square is already taken. This is 10. And Y, capital Y, let me write here, is pi into Y. And we are referring to 2, so Y2 should come. So pi into 0.1169, this is Y, multiplied by Z2. Z2 is 96. Okay, so what is the M cube CV which is required? Okay, M cube CV we are talking about which is required, the minimum that is required. Okay, M cube CV that is required, if you calculate this, you should get around 5.885. M cube CV should be satisfied for this particular problem. So module cube into the velocity factor must be equal to 5.885. Now you might ask, fine, we don't know the diameter, then what has CV got to do with this? Okay, can't we find out CV at this stage? See, CV is dependent on V. Okay, I think I'll better write it this way. CV, to get CV, you require linear velocity V at that particular point. In order to understand this V, you require pi dn by 60. That means you are depending on D now, correct? Only when D is available, only then you can understand what is CV. So that is why you cannot directly satisfy this equation as of now without knowing the value of D. And that is why we are keeping both those as separate unknowns which need to be calculated, keeping in mind that M cube CV must be equal to 5.885. Now you have to do some iterations based on which this 5.885 will be satisfied. Okay, you put different modules, then arrange the CV accordingly, and then see whether it allows you to fit that process. Okay, so let us do a small table here for that iteration. First you are going to select a module M. Okay, once M is done, then you know that you have D2. How do you understand, how do you calculate D2? D2 is equal to M into Z2. Okay, so this value must be in mm. Once D2 is done, you can find out V. What is V? Pi dn by 60. Okay, let me put that as N. Since N is in RPM, I have to put 60. And since velocity should be expressed in meters per second, I'll put 60,000. Remember, the units here are meters per second, not mm, because the table for your next one, CV, is described with respect to meters per second. That is why. Then finally M cube CV. Then compare which one will come closer. Okay. Yeah, I'll do the calculations here itself. Now which one to select? Should we start from 1, 2, 3? Because You see, what is the unit of module? Module is always expressed in mm. See, d is equal to, we know that d is equal to m into z, or you can say m is equal to d by z. D is a diameter, so numerator is in mm. Z is just a number, that is number of teeth. So m will be in mm. Module should be in mm. So which one to take? First, when you do the problem, you can take any value, but as you go on solving different problems, the moment you see this value m cube cv, you will understand which value to start with. Very close. And again, it is a trial equation, that is trial and error equations you have to use. That is, you will use different volumes of module in order to satisfy this m cube cv value. So let us start with something. To start with, we have a small help, that is, you will go through recommended series of modules. So go to page number 229. Okay, for this module, go to page number 229. So under this 229, you have table 12.2. Table 12.2. You have preferred choice 1, choice 2, and choice 3. We always go with choice 1. Okay, always go with choice 1. Only if there are so many conditions that you'll be forced to go with choice 2, then only go with choice 2. Okay, now this is an independent problem. It is not asking you to do anything like set the model between this or let the diameter be only this. It is not giving you any space constraint for the given gear pair or a set. So that is why you are free to choose, and when you choose, go for the preferred one. So I'll write here preferred choice, preferred. Under that preferred, you'll see 1, 1.25, 1.5, 2, 2.5. So say let us start with something. We do not know how much the value will come to be. I'll put say 3 or say 4. Okay. So let us say 4. I have 4 values with me. So let me start with 4. When you say 4 mm, then what will be D2? See, remember that Z2 is 96. Already you have taken. So 4 into 96 will be D2. So this comes out to be 384. Velocity for that will be 5 into 384 into N2 here. N2 is 400 by 60,000. So this will give you a meters per second value of 8.042. Okay. Please understand this process, what I have done. I have selected 4 as a starting point. D2 values will come out to be 384. Okay, then it will be 8.042 velocity. Once you got 8.042 meters per second as velocity, go to CV. Okay, from where will you get CV? You have to go to that particular table, right? Yeah. So let us go to page number 205. So for the CV value, where you have to choose from, page 205. Under that, the equations are all starting from 12.6. 12.6, that is A, B, C, D, E, all are with respect to that CV. Now this will help you to understand how much you have to take. Okay. So for the first one, ordinary cut gears running with the pitch line velocity up to 8. The second one is still higher, up to 13. Then third one is 6 to 20. And the fourth one is about 20. And the fifth one is for non-metallic gears, that is maybe a polymer gear, okay, a plastic gear simply called. Okay, so recommended by AGMA, so that formula is used. These are all empirical relationships, what velocity factor have to be used. So So page 205, equation 12.6, it's a series A, B, C, D. Any one you have to choose here. So let us choose something. I think we have just crossed 8. Of course, you can use 8 point. It's very close to 8. You can use 8 point, that the first one itself, A1. Or if you have any doubt, you can go for the second one. CV is equal to 4.58 by, let me write here, 4.58 by 4.58 plus B. Okay, I have one value with me. I'm not sure which one I've calculated, but whatever it is, that will not be the answer straight away. So there is no harm in iterating it. 0.3628 I'm getting. Okay, CV value for this value of V, that is 8.042. When you substitute here, you should get some value here, 0.3628. Once CV you got, then you do m cube CV, that is 4 cube into 0.3628. So that will come out to be 23.21. Now, does this satisfy our need? Obviously, 23.21 will satisfy our need because required is, the minimum amount is 5.885. So comparing this with this, it is satisfying. But can you still optimize it? Can you still go down? Why would you want to use 4mm module, which is a large gear when compared to module 1 and module 2? So can we do it with still smaller gear? Yes, go lesser than that. Say go to 3mm, and 3mm will give you some values. Okay, if you put 3 here, I don't have the values here, you can fill it up later. I have the values for, you can also iterate for 2.75 and 2.5. Okay, students, you can start filling this. Okay, for 3 how much you get, for 2.75 how much you get, for 2.5 how much you get. So whenever you get this, V will come down because 3 is small. So CV will be using one more equation, 3.05 by 3.05 plus V, then m cube CV. I don't have the values of 3 here with me, but I have values of 2.75. Should get around 7.393, and here it is 5.902. Let me fill all other details. You do the calculations on your own from there. So you see that it is continuously decreasing because module is decreasing. And when you arrive at 2.5 mm module, when you arrive at 2.5 mm, you see the value 5.902, exactly in line with what you wanted. So this is 5.88. It has to be just above this or exactly equal to this. Exactly you may not get, but it is just above this, right? So this 2.5 mm of module is the most preferred value. So you can say that m cube CV adopted should be greater than m cube CV, which is required, and if this condition has been satisfied, hence design is safe from strength point of view. So m is equal to 2.5 mm. Okay, so do those calculations. I'll give you a minute to understand and write all those things.
So,
Yeah.
so over here in selecting the value of m, we are looking at table 12.2. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
So in that, which column are we exactly looking at? Like a preferred one, is it?
Yes. The first one, preferred one.
So there's no 2.75 value in it. So we can just take values in the middle.
Yeah, we can check. We can check. Yeah, I agree with you. 2.75 is not there. So you can just check.
Okay.
Suppose, yeah. In this case, anyway, we are not going to take 2.75. So because it is, we can still optimize it to 2.5, right?
No, but say in some other problem like middle values are all right.
All right, but the final thing is like always see that choice one or preferred one is used.
Okay.
If only there is a space constraint, say adjusting all other values, say for example, d value is given, okay, then you cannot play around with m value itself. Your m value will be constrained, okay, you cannot choose 2.5 at all or 3, you will have to go with 2.75. Okay, in such cases you are free to choose, otherwise always go with preferred first one.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, I think most of you have understood this. With module 3 what values you get, you just see that. Okay, I think for all other things CV will be applicable because it is all less than 8. The only for the first one I have used 4.58. Okay, so from the design point of view, from the strength point of view, this is proper. M is 2.5 mm, and so you can directly write the results, that is saying, so M is 2.5, with this as 2.5 mm, then D2 value is 240 mm. Okay, then obviously what will be D1 value? 240 by 3, it is 80 mm. Okay, we have chosen k is equal to b by m to be 10. So with this in mind, b is to be 2.5 into 10. So face width is 25 mm. Okay, so these values you can write. D1, D2, face width is same, whether it is a gear or pinion, both are same. So till here, this point, this completes design based on strength. Why I am stressing this point is sometimes the problem will be stopped here. Okay, this much is enough for design based on strength alone. But this problem has something extra. Let us go back to the statement. See, till here it is proper. Okay, till here we have come. The next part is calculate the dynamic load and check for wear load. What is this dynamic load and wear load? See, design based on strength, as we have understood, Lewis equation, one of the drawbacks was that it is taking a stationary tooth into account. It is not taking something that is rotating at a particular speed, or the extra forces or the inertial forces that are acting on the gear and the tooth based on its rotation. It is not considering. So based on strength means we can say it is something kind of a static strength account. Okay, static strength it has taken care, but is the size enough for a dynamic load? Now since we have set it for this particular module of 2.5, we will calculate what is the dynamic load on the gear and also check for wear load Okay, so let us do that with the same system rotating at some RPM. Okay, it is whether it is a pinion or a gear in this case. Okay, we are designing based on the gear, so it is rotating at some RPM at some high speed. What will be the dynamic load on it and whether it can sustain? Okay, so for dynamic load, that is a second part of the discussion. For dynamic load, okay, we have some ready equations with us. FD is equal to FT plus K3V CB plus FT divided by K3B plus root of CB plus FT. And this is in page 207, page 207, equation number 12.12. Okay. So Buckingham equation to determine the maximum dynamic load on the gear tooth. We know gear tooth is like a small mass which is rotating at some speed. So some inertial forces will be there. Okay, so this equation will take care of that. Now, what is this individually? Let us understand. Okay, FD is a total dynamic load on the gear, and we are comparing that with the wear load. See, the dynamic load leads to wearing of the gear tooth. Okay, wearing of the gear tooth. Now, let us see in the equation itself. Under that equation of 12.12, it is already given that K3, if you substitute in SI unit, it is 20.67. So it's just a factor here, just for conversion. Okay, K3 is 20.67. V is the velocity which we calculated, the linear velocity. B is the face width. What is FT? FT refers to the tangential tooth load. Okay. So there is no need of an equation here for FT, but it is understood that, see, it is FT with respect to gear. I can write FT2 is equal to 2mt by d2. Okay, this is very simple. This is not anything complicated. Anyway, this equation is not found in your data handbook, but we know that torque mt is equal to T into R, correct? Which is nothing but T. This is Ft into R. Ft into R. So this is Ft into d by 2. So rearranging, Ft is equal to 2 times mt by d. That's exactly what we have written here. So torque is equal to force into radius. Okay. So you have a tooth load here. For example, this is the direction. So this is Ft. Okay, tangential tooth load. Ft. Ft into radius. Radius is this one, which is also written as d by 2. Okay. So Ft2 is equal to 2mt by d2. So this comes out to be, so let us write that 179,062.5 by d2, which is 240. So this will be 1492.19 Newton. So this is the tangential part of the tooth load, 1492.19 Newton. What about velocity V? We have calculated. Let us go back to the table, which is the value that you have selected, 2.5 mm module. So for that one, which is the velocity? Here is the velocity, 5.026 meters per second. So V is 5.026 meters per second. Fine. Okay. B you just now calculated. B was 25 mm. So what is the only remaining part here? C. Please switch off your microphones. It is echoing back. Okay. So capital C in this equation, capital C is called as a dynamic factor. And as you can see in the equation description, that it is related to 14.5, there is a form factor, and also the Young's modulus of gear and the gear tooth. So that is the pinion and the gear. Now that is one route to follow. we can either go by that way, or there is already a table which is describing in terms of machining errors, E. It is already giving a table. So let us go to that table. We'll directly take the values from the table rather than going by calculation rule. So let us go to table 12.12. And it is not simply one table, you have to go through 3 different tables here. Okay, so 12.13 also and 12.14. So these are in pages. This is in page 236 and these are in pages 237. Okay, if you just look at that, it's all related to each other. Okay, so what do we find? In 12.12, based on error and material and the form of tooth, they are giving you some values of C. But in order to do that, you have to find out for the given module, okay, for the given module, what should be the error using 12.13 and what should be the maximum allowable or permissible error according to 12.14. Okay, so let us start at 12.14. 12.14, according to this table, for V is equal to 5.026 meters per second. So 12.14, you don't have for this table you don't have 5.026, but you do have a value between 5 and 6. So what we'll do, we have to interpolate. So in this table, velocity 5, everything is in meters per second. Error, that is the maximum allowable or permissible error in mm, it is given to be 0.0640. Similarly for 6, you have 0.0590 and your value of 5.026 comes in between 5.026. So what will be the value of error E, or I can say what is Emax. So interpolate. When you interpolate, what will be Emax value? You know how to interpolate. I'll just give you one form of the equation. 5.026 minus 5 by 6 minus 5 must be equal to Emax, the value which you want to find out, 0.064 by 0.059 minus 0.064. So if you do this calculation, okay, solving, you should get Emax as 0.0639, very close to 0.6064, obviously 0.0639. Okay, so this is the maximum permissible value, Emax. You have to compare this value with something that has been set for a class of gears. So let us go to the next thing, that is table.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, the FT value that we have found out can be found out using Lewis equation also.
Lewis equation,
because the value is coming very close to the one that we got from 2mt by d2.
Yeah, once you have set the parameters, yes, I think it should be fine. Yeah.
Like only 3 Newton difference is there.
3 newtons.
Yeah.
Maybe that is because all other things are same. Empty value. No, we are taking tangential tooth load here. See, in that a Lewis equation velocity k y z. Are you talking about 12.5a equation?
Yes, sir.
12.5a. How much difference you are getting?
3 Newton. Approximately some 3 point something. Around 3 Newton only.
Modulus is yeah, you can take, no issues.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, now coming to this one, Emax is 0.0639. Let us go back to table 12.13. Now we'll compare this now. 12.13, we'll select class 1. Remember, in 12.13 there are 3 classes. Class 1 is industrial or commercial gas, that is very roughly cut gas. Okay. Class 2 is accurate or carefully cut gas, so a little bit higher class than. Then class 3 is precision gas. So precision is, for very sensitive instruments. I can say one example I can give is for watch. Okay, very high precisions you require, and for very critical space applications you might require precision gas, or even for medical devices. But class 1 is some general rough work, okay, general engineering, whatever they do. Since it is not mentioned in the problem, okay, I repeat, since it is not mentioned in the problem which class of gas to take, you are free to choose any class. But generally we'll go with the most general class, or the most roughly cut gas, class 1. So according to class 1 gas, you have a module which is selected from 4 mm, but up to 4 mm, okay, since our module is less than that, up to 4 mm module, okay, the E value is 0.0508, which is less than the Emax value of 0.0639. Okay, up to 4 mm module, E is equal to 0.0508 mm, which is less than the Emax value of 0.0639. Now what to do in such a case? It is less than that. You see at the bottom of page 237, bottom line, you see what is the statement written there? It's a note. The note is written that the probable error in 12.13, or also called maximum error, should be less than the permissible error. Probable error should be less than the permissible error. So this is permissible and this is probable. So this condition should be true. Okay, should be less than the permissible error. But in this case, what has happened? Or maximum allowable error. So what you need to do here is, okay, the probable error should be less than the permissible error, and for that value you have to take the dynamic load. Okay, probable error or maximum error between the gates in 12.13 should be less than the permissible error or maximum allowable error. Now this condition is satisfied. This is okay with us. Now, okay, 0.0508 is a maximum error, and here it is the permissible or maximum allowable error. You notice when you go to class 2, what happens? For the same module, when you go to class 2, the error will be still lesser, almost half of it. And if you go still further, it is again half of that, class 3. So the maximum of probable error keeps on decreasing with every class of higher class of gear that you introduce. So that means, okay, Emax is maximum allowable error you can get, but there is a restriction with the class of gear that you are dealing with. So what can be said about this? What is the conclusion of this? Is that E value should be restricted to this 0.0508 mm. So in order to find C, so to find C, that is the dynamic factor, now go to table 12.12. So 12.12, you see which one you have to choose. Choose very carefully here. There are a lot of combinations. You will have to think about the material. Material, there is cast iron and cast iron, cast iron and steel, steel and steel. We know that both are steels. So the combination is steel and steel. That is, pinion is also made of steel and the gear is also made of steel. Steel and steel. What about the tooth form? 14.5 degree full depth we are talking about. What about the error? Error is 0.0508. With this in mind, what should be the value of C? Again, you don't have the entire value here, 0.0508, that value you don't have in the table. Again, you have to interpolate. So you have 0.04 with you, 0.06 with you. So in between you have this E value. And under this you have steel and 14.5 degree. You have 441.3 as the C value. And this is the unknown C value which you are going to find out. And in here you have 662.0. So interpolate for the value of C. I'll write the interpolation equation here. How it will come? 0.0508 by minus 0.04. Sorry, 0.04. And this is 0.6 minus 0.04 must be equal to unknown value C minus 441.3 by 662 minus 441.3. So this should give you what is the C value.
560.5.
Yes, 560 point, yeah, around 47 I'm getting. Okay, 5 also should be fine. Okay, the
So what is the bracketed term in the table?
that is in different unit.
Which
Unit difference, metric units.
Okay.
So you take whichever is without bracket, because without bracket is SI unit, with bracket is metric units. So 560.47. I think usually we don't go for any units displaying for this dynamic load, but if you do some slight analysis, it will come around say Newton per meter or something like that. Okay, Newton load per unit length it comes. Anyway, we'll not worry about that here. Okay, so let us go back to the equation where we left behind. It is again FD. So let us write that FD equation. Dynamic tooth load will be equal to tangential tooth load plus K3V into CB plus FT divided by K3V plus root of CB plus FT. Be very careful with the calculators because it's a huge equation and you might miss out. So let me write the things. This is 20.67 into 5.026 into CB I cannot write here, I have some tab issues coming. So multiplied root of whatever is in the bracket. Okay, whatever is in the brackets right here, it should give you see that you arrive at this particular value 8544.13 newtons. Okay, so this is the dynamic load 8544. You notice what has happened to the tangential tooth load. The tangential tooth load is considering the static condition only, but it is increased so many times to give a dynamic tooth load at that particular velocity. So the gears that are so designed, it's actually a factor of how fast the gears are rotating or the maximum speed by which the gears can rotate. So these factors have to be added for a successful design. Okay, so 1492 is just a static load we are talking about according to the Lewis equation, and the same gear without any change of material, once you set the gear, if it starts rotating, the dynamic load on the gear tooth is 8544.13 newtons. Okay, now for the last part. Now this is the calculation of the dynamic load. The last part says, okay, let me go back to the equation. See, we have done strength previously, we have checked for dynamic load, that is also done. The last one is check for wear load. Last part is check for wear load. Okay, I think I need to add one slide here, hold on. Yeah. Right from FD is equal to, I'll write it again here. (8544.13 newtons). Okay. Now you have to find what is the wear load. Okay, wear load. So for this, FW is equal to D1BQK, given by 12.15A on page 208. Just check those values, students. In page 208, 12.15A will give you the limiting load of wear. You notice something immediately. Though we have been designing for the weaker section here, which is the gear in this particular problem, the moment you come to wear load, you see D1 is mentioned. Now what does it mean, D1 here? Okay, we know that the pinion is causing, in simple words I can say pinion is something that is driving it, right? Driving the system, driving the pair. So the wear starts at the driving gear, not the driven gear. So that is why FW is totally related to D1, not D2. Okay, so simply because we are designing with the weaker gear in mind, don't change this, because this is always D1. D1 B Q into K. Okay, so what are the subcomponents of it? D1 is the diameter of the pinion itself. What about Q? Q is just a factor. Let me give that. It is in 12.15C. All descriptions are given there. Q is either you can use Z formula or D formula. Okay, 2D2 by D1 plus D2. Okay, so 2 into 240, which we have set, 80 plus 240, which gives you 1.5. Okay. What about K value? See, K value is very interesting. K value is dependent on sigma ES square sine alpha by 1.4 into 1 by E1 plus 1 by E2. Either you can take the load stress factor or you can use okay, let me go for the subcomponents again. What is sigma ES? Okay, surface endurance strength. Sigma ES means surface endurance strength or limit, also called limit. Okay, I'd rather use the same thing what is used here. So surface endurance limit, sigma ES is equal to 2.75 times the Brinell hardness number of the material that you are working minus 70. So this is accordance with 12.15 D. Okay, 12.15 D. You are going to get the equation. Now, how to calculate this 12 point? What is sigma ES for the given material? Let us go back. Okay, so for C45 steel, what is the Brinell hardness number? Yeah, we'll go back to the same table where we took sigma D values from. So table 12.7, page 234. So what is BHN1 or the first one and BHN2? That is for pinion, same material, that is C45 steel untreated, BHN comes out to be 200. And for forged steel 0.3% carbon untreated, it comes out to be 150. Good, that same table. Next to sigma D values, you have the BHN values. That is Brinell hardness number. Now, combine this. The average value of these two is, this is 200 plus 150 by 2, which is 175. So that value you have to put here. So this is 2.75 into 175 minus 70. So it comes out to be 411.25 megapascals or Newton per mm square. Sigma ES value. Okay. Yeah. What about E value here? Okay, E value, see, E value does not change with surface limits. See, for any material, okay, let me give a just small example. For any material, okay, we know that there is an E value here. So E value is a Young's modulus, which we call the plastic limit of that material. That will remain the same. But in addition to the E value that is already existing within the material, you can do a separate surface finish, that is surface treatment of your choice. Though the Young's modulus will remain the same, this surface can be treated in such a way that the hardness value on this surface is more. Okay, hardness value of that surface can be increased. That you might have studied in material science and metallurgy subject. Okay, you might recollect some part of it. So for any material, though keeping the Young's modulus same, you can subject it to heat treatment such that the surface properties of that material will change without changing the inherently the Young's modulus or rigidity modulus of that material. That is exactly what we are doing here. We are trying to find out, giving the Young's modulus as same, what will happen to the other properties. So sigma, let us go back to K value now. K is equal to sigma ES square, which is 411.25 the whole square into sine alpha. Alpha is 14.5 degrees, so 14.5 is the pressure angle. Yeah, divided by 1.4 into Young's modulus of steel is 207 gigapascals. So we are already supplying this in megapascals. So I think we can put as 210 power 3, and since both are same, I can write this as 2 by, is it correct? Yeah, denominators are same, correct? Yes. So numerators also will get added up. 2 by 207 into 10 power 3. Okay, and write the reason E1 is equal to E2 is equal to 207 gigapascals. How much this comes out to be? We say 200. Maybe there may be slight variation here, but I'll just give you a value. K value should come out to be 0.29. Okay, 294. Substitute it back in the equation. Now for the final equation, Fw is equal to D1, which is 80, B, which is 25, Q is 1.5, and K value is 0.294. So keeping all those here, get around 882 newtons. 882 newtons is the wear load consideration. Okay. There is still one more step to do. I think this and the other things I think I can take up in the next class. Okay. So you have your own class, I think, the next one. So let us stop here, students, at this particular time. I'll continue from here wherever we have left behind. Okay. So once the recording is ready, I'll keep you posted in the post. Okay. And students, wherever you are, please be safe. Don't take chances with your life. Don't go on roaming around. Okay, wherever you are, whichever part of the city you are in, Manipal, inside the hostel, or outside at your home, at your convenience, please be careful. Don't be careless regarding anything. Okay, fine. Okay, so thanks students. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, sir.